I remember many days, not every day because I don't consider myself a depressive person. I'm always, in general, happy. But when I started realizing that my friends were different than me and I had this disability, like I got more conscious about it. Many days I went under my bed and I remember having this dinosaur shirt of a T-Rex that shined in the dark. So I went under my bed and started crying looking at this shirt. It was very nostalgic and I cried because I felt inferior than them and that things were never gonna change. So it was sad for me and I asked myself, why me? Why don't I have arms? I was born with a disability called phocomelia. So basically, the fetus inside the belly of my mother didn't develop. That was me in my case. So what happens is that the blood stops circulating, and then my extremity, in this case, my arm, didn't develop. Some people have the same problem in their legs or their arms, or both. In my case, it was only the arms. I remember many days, not every day because I don't consider myself a depressive person. I'm always, in general, happy. But when I started realizing that my friends were different than me and I had this disability, like I got more conscious about it. Many days I went under my bed and I remember having this dinosaur shirt of a T-Rex that shined in the dark. So I went under my bed and started crying looking at this shirt. It was very nostalgic and I cried because I felt inferior than them and that things were never gonna change. So it was sad for me and I asked myself, why me? Why don't I have arms? And why? My parents always tried to talk to me that it was not about the physical condition, it was about the attitude. It was about like what you actually believe in and never compare to others. That's one thing that I learned. Never compare to others, just be yourself. And they always tried to push me into going to public spaces. For example, shopping malls, going to a match, football match, concerts, beach, etc. And I found that it can be basic, but it's really important because I have seen many people that have a disability and their parents are really afraid of people saying to them, oh, your kid has a disability. So what those parents do is instead of having these kids have a normal life, they try to hide their kids in their room. So they have no social life. So that's one thing that I'm really grateful for my parents that did, is trying to give me a normal life, a normal social life, and that helped me a lot, doing friends. Yeah, when I was rising up to be an adult in my youth, I had this complex that I felt inferior in some ways to others, and I did some stupid things to avoid that. For example, I used to wear a lot of time like long jacket with long sleeves or sweaters to hide my arms when going to the street, or maybe I was walking in the street and in the same side of the street there were many people coming, so I crossed in red light to the other side. Or for example, when I was attending the first concerts, like hip hop concerts, the music that I like, I didn't raise my hand when people said like hip hop. I was like doing this because I didn't want people to see my hand.
Okay.
After many years, I started, for example, to wear more shirts. I cut the sleeves of the long sweaters. I attended more concerts. I started raising my hand. I went more to the beach and take off my shirt. So it wasn't from one day to another, but the moment I realized I was never gonna have arms is the moment my mindset changed. So instead of just complaining about my physical appearance, I said like I can't change this, but what I can do, and it's free, and everybody can do, is change their attitude. So I started having more of a positive attitude and started to compare less with others and just trying to be me with my good things and my bad things. Um, over the years in my life, some things were easier for me, some things were really hard. And the things that I found really hard when I was little, for example, was wearing like formal shirts with buttons, or for example, putting a belt with my pants. So that took me like forever. I have a video of me, 4 years old, putting a shirt. I have it, and when I do some motivational talks, I show that video. It takes me 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to put one shirt. Now it takes me like 3 seconds. So I got really better over the years. But what I do is like I try to avoid nowadays things that are hard for me. For example, I try to use shorts without belts, or pants like sport pants without belts, or like shirts without buttons. So it makes my life easier for me. When I was little, sometimes I used my feet to draw or write in school. But then when I was rising up, I used this prosthetic. I don't know how you say that. It was like a glove that I put in my hand, and it had a pencil. So instead of grabbing the pen, I always just put the glove and then just move my arm. Over the years, I started doing that, but with my arm, like with no problem. But it took me a lot of time. So I had like these things, tools that helped me. For example, go to the bathroom. When I was little, I used like a golf club. So it was like a golf club. I did like this, or like the same, but for combing my hair. So it was like a glove with a stick like here and the comb here. So I put my hand and I started like going like this, and my hair was like this. So some of those things took me days, weeks, and some things took me years to progress and get better doing things. The same with my shoes. Nowadays it takes a lot of time to tie my shoe, so I just ask someone for help, or just put the laces here in the side. So naturally, it was difficult for me when I was growing up to do some things, but I started doing things with my feet. So somehow like my feet turned out to be my arms. So that's how I got into doing a lot of things with my feet. For example, dressing, drawing, writing with my feet, and also I played a lot of video games. So I started at the age of 5, around 4 or 5, playing Nintendo, Super Mario Bros. With my feet, and then I had like PlayStation, etc. And until today, I do things with my feet, and especially video games. So it was funny because I always play football. Since I was 7, I play in like football teams, in leagues, etc. I played as a center forward. But at the age of 7, I realized that I had a skill juggling the ball, not doing tricks, but only juggling the ball, and I was better than my friends. But it wasn't that I was born with a talent. It was just something I developed over the years of doing things with my feet. So when I was 7, I think I remember I did like 100 or 150 juggles, and then at the age of 8, I already juggled 1,000. So it was a lot for my age, and it was funny because in many periods of my life, I consider myself to be less than my friends. They could play basketball, they could play volleyball, or do other things that I couldn't do. So when I discovered that I could juggle the ball really cool, it was like a mind-opening thing for me, and it made me happy since that day. That was around 1991, a long time ago. So after the years, I only juggled the ball, and then when I was about 16 years old, I saw a commercial that maybe we all know, or Ronaldinho, who is Ronaldinho. So it was a sport commercial, and it was Ronaldinho with a background and a hip hop music, and he did this trick around the world. So after he did around the world, so after Ronaldinho did around the world, it was crazy. It was crazy, and I started screaming in my house. And my mother was cooking some eggs in the kitchen, and there was my sister doing homework. So I ran to the kitchen, and then I grabbed the volleyball from my sister, and then she was like, "Wow, that's my volleyball." It's my volleyball now. And I tried to replicate the trick that I saw Ronaldinho. And it took me about 1.5 hours to do the around the world. And not that much time because I already had like this skill juggling the ball, and from that day I started my journey in freestyle football. But it was thanks for maybe from video games, playing FIFA. Yeah, freestyle football helped me a lot to gain self-confidence. More of an introverted person when I was younger. It was hard for me to talk with people that I didn't know. So when I talked with friends or my cousin, it was okay. I felt comfortable. But what happened if I went to a party or a barbecue or some place that I didn't know people? I was just sitting like forever alone in one corner, speaking with nobody. So freestyle football actually helped me. The main reason that helped me is that when I started going to the street to do freestyle, people stopped looking at me because I didn't have arms and actually look at me because I did cool tricks. So it was a way of them just looking at the good things that I had instead of the bad things per se that I didn't have. So when you have a talent and you explore that talent and you get better at something, people are always gonna look at the bright side of you instead of the things that you're lacking. In my case, my arms. So over the years, that helped me a lot to gain confidence, to start talking with more people, to start talking with girls. Also,
you married?
Yeah. And now I'm married, so it helped me a lot with the confidence. And it's funny because if you ask me, I don't want to have arms now. I am happy with this disability. And freestyle helped me a lot, especially going to public spaces. I am more free to go there and not afraid. So when I was starting to explore freestyle football, as I said before, I started doing sit-downs because I didn't have the perfect balance. But I always wanted to push myself and didn't want to look inferior than my friends. So that's the mindset that I always had, to push myself in this sport. And I didn't want to avoid doing lowers, so I started also doing lowers. And it was kind of scary for me. I would compare it to skateboard. People that do skateboard, when they jump in a stair, if they think they will fall, they will fall. So when I started doing freestyle, I didn't think about failing. I didn't. If I thought that if I step on the ball and went back and I didn't have arms to just put my arms on the floor, I would have failed in freestyle football. So I just have this mindset, I'm gonna do this trick, I got obsessed with the tricks. And every single time that I did a harder trick, it gave me more confidence to do harder tricks that are really like maybe scary for someone that has no arms to put on the floor if they fall. It had happened to me before, but it's something that I just got used to it. Sometimes I fall, but right back I try to do the trick again because I don't want to have this fear in my head forever. So if I fail one trick, I have to do it again until I do it. A long time ago, the first time I actually got money from a show, because before that I did some shows, little shows just for free, for fun. But when I got the first money, I actually saved the money. I am always concerned about saving. For example, when I went to university, my mother always told me, like, because I'm skinny, and she's always concerned about me eating. And she said, I gave you $2, $3 to buy something, did you use them? And I told her, no, I saved the money for the future. So that's what I did with the money of my first show. I didn't expend it, I put it in the bank, and to get some little interest. I have a really close relationship with my parents, my mom, my father. I always, even though I'm old, I always go to see them during the weekends and watch sports. I go into their bed and watch Netflix or Champions League. So with that close relationship, I think that I have something yet to do for my mom, and that is inviting her to a trip, invited her for vacations. It might be like 3 days or 1 week. So I have the money. It's just something that I don't have a priority on doing, because sometimes you say like, oh, I can do it tomorrow, I can do it next year, and years go by, and she's like 64 years old now, So this is, I think, in the next years is a good moment because she's able to walk and run, and she has the physical condition to maybe go trekking into a hill or mountain or lake. And I think I regret not doing that before, but I still have time to enjoy time with her in the trip. I am really happy for the achievements that I have achieved. No, I am really happy with the achievements of freestyle football over the 20 years or 21 years of my career as a freestyler. I think that I can say that the main achievement for me is building a community in Chile. I was the pioneer with my friend back in 2002 doing freestyle in Chile, and there were no freestylers. So I am happy that now we have more than 50 freestylers active in Chile, and they respect me a lot as an old school freestyler, and I am really always happy to share my knowledge. So I try to always motivate the new generations that are coming, not only in Chile, but nowadays with social media, I always try to inspire and motivate freestylers, or maybe non-freestylers, just to get better at what they like. It's difficult to think about my life nowadays without freestyle football. I think that if I wasn't doing freestyle football now, I think I would have been like a Paralympic ping pong player. I played so much ping pong when I was little. My grandfather was from China, so he was really good. And so my last name is Aguiló, but the other last name is Xiao, so that's Chinese. And what I did is I had this racket, and I put a rope around my hand, so it was the same as writing. So I was like, it was like cheating. So I was like this, and when I was little, it was easier for me because the table was about this height. But when I grew up, it was hard for me because the table was too low. So I think I would have become maybe a Paralympic table tennis player from Chile.